Hey there, interwebs, and welcome to Part 2. Now, you may be wondering, Part 2 of what, if you haven't seen this month's previous video. If that's the case, pause this video here and go watch it. Are you back now? Good, because this is also a follow-up to a different video of mine. Just over 3 years ago, I posted one addressing the question, what is cold iron? And although most of my knowledge on this kind of thing comes from reading way too many Wikipedia articles, that's apparently the only qualification I need to talk about things that don't actually exist, so I feel like it's time for a sequel examining a different fantasy material. Adamant, also known as adamantite, also known as adamantium, also known as adamantine, but that one's far more commonly used as an adjective meaning unbreakable or having the property of adamant. So, what is adamant? Before we try to come up with a definition, of which there are plenty already, it may behoove us to examine the etymology first. The modern English word adamant and its derivatives come from the Old English word adamus, a mid-14th century borrowing of the Old French adamant from the Latin adamantum, which itself comes from the ancient Greek word adamus, meaning inflexible, unbreakable, or unconquerable. This lexical root would seem to imply that adamant is an unbreakable material, and that's more or less how it gets used today, generally referring to a mystical, indestructible material. In the bygone days of yore, it was used to refer to the hardest known material, whatever that was at the time, likely steel, especially when compared to contemporary bronze weapons. As time passed and material science progressed, we gained a better understanding of concepts such as hardness, but the word adamant stuck around, and it ended up getting applied to solid crystalline carbon. That's fancy scientist speak for a diamond, and if that sounds a little like adamant, it's not a coincidence. Although diamond comes from the Middle English word diamant and the Old French word diamant before that, both diamond and adamant come from the Latin adamantum, meaning they share the same root word. According to Ezekiel 3:9, it is a stone harder than flint, which has a Mohs hardness of 7, and diamond tops the scale with a perfect 10. This means that those legendary adamant swords of Greek mythology may have been diamond blades. But probably not, because a diamond sword would be very brittle and likely to shatter as soon as you hit something with it. Diamond blades do exist IRL, but they're made from steel with many small diamonds along their edge and are used for sawing through abrasive material, not for slicing. Diamond knives also exist, but they're tiny and used for eye surgery. Additionally, the gems were basically named after the mystical material, not the other way around. Adamant doesn't necessarily have to refer to diamonds, however. Throughout antiquity, the name has been applied to many different materials. Plato used it to refer to a metal resembling gold, see also orichalcum, while Pliny the Elder used it for white sapphire, and Ovid applied the name to lodestones. These are a kind of naturally occurring magnet, although their connection to adamant is probably due to a bit of confused folk etymology. Rather than tracing the word's root to the Latin word adamantum, adamant became connected to the very similar Latin word adamare, meaning to love passionately. It was also believed at the time that adamant/diamonds could disrupt magnetic fields, as mentioned in the Pseudodoxia Epidemica. Still others have applied the name to ferrous metals such as iron and steel, both excellent choices of material for armor and blades, as well as emery stone, the material used to sharpen those blades. In the words of the Century Dictionary, the name has thus always been of indefinite and fluctuating sense. Whatever definition you want to use, most of them at least agree on adamant being an unyielding object, but what happens when it is met by the unstoppable force? Long have people pondered this philosophical question, but according to Vedic mythology, the two hit it off, start dating, get married, settle down, and have a kid, and that kid's name is the Vajra. It is the divine weapon of the thunder deity Indra, which allegedly combines the irresistible power of a thunderbolt with the indestructibility of a diamond. Now you may think differently, but whenever I start to think of deities who wield thunderbolts, my mind immediately goes to Zeus. As a matter of fact, he's Indra's Greek equivalent, with the two both being lightning-wielding kings of the gods, and likely sharing a common ancestor in Proto-Indo-European mythology. According to Hesiod, the Pan-Hellenic Poonhound's thunderbolts were forged by 3 cyclopes named Arges, Steropes, and Brontes, which mean shining, lightning, and thunder, respectively. Although what material they used is unspecified, as far as I know, sickles made from adamant were used both by his father Cronus and his son Perseus, so it's my personal headcanon that Zeus's thunderbolts are also made of the mythic material, which makes them even more similar to Indra's Vajra. Side note, this headcanon would mean by extension that Poseidon's trident and Hades' helm of darkness are also adamant, and admittedly the image of bright forked lightning combines much more smoothly with a 3-pronged trident than a helm of darkness, but hey, swings and roundabouts. Returning to Zeus, Indra, and the Vajra, here's an ancient Ptolemaic coin depicting Zeus's eagle clutching thunderbolts, not looking very much like lightning, but looking quite a lot like these Vajra examples. Here we have a New Age crystalline Vajra, but it's crystalline silicon dioxide, i.e. quartz, not the crystalline carbon that makes up a diamond. Related to the Vajra is the Purba, another ritual weapon of Vedic mythology, notable as being a nigh-unique triple-edged dagger. Many purbas, such as the one shown here, can include crystal elements in their construction, and this one is made of it exclusively. Unfortunately, it's also quartz, not diamond, otherwise it'd be both insanely valuable and arguably the closest thing we've got to a true adamant blade. Getting back to our original question, what is adamant, it's probably safest to say that it's a material, probably mineral, but possibly metal, which is very tough to the point of nigh indestructibility. Delving into my personal fantasy canon, adamant is a crystalline material akin to a magical diamond on steroids. Adamantine blades aren't actually made from it, but instead from a special metal which possesses the same quality of being magically strong. That's why I specify that they're adamantine, not just adamant. Think of it like the difference between gold and golden. Anyway, I hope this has been interesting, and maybe even given you something to think about or incorporate into your own fantasy settings. Until next time, thanks for watching, and have a nice day.